Hello, I'm Bill Monroe, and welcome to 2 Minute Talk Tips. This week's 2 minute tip: bring an extra shirt. Some years back, I headed out on the road to attend my meetings for the day, and of course, I stopped at my favorite drive-through coffee stand on the way. Picked up my double tall mocha. I've since moved on to five shot ventis, but that's another story. And an awesome peanut butter cookie. Of course, once I hit traffic, I promptly spilled coffee all over my shirt. That led to a last-minute diversion to JCPenney to buy a new shirt, and since then, I always travel with a spare shirt in the car or in my presentation kit. You see, stuff happens throughout the day. You could spill your coffee or another beverage, or if you're really careful, your coworker could spill their beverage on you. If you happen to be really stressed, or you have to move around a lot, or it's really warm, you could end up perspiring through your shirt, or you could even just have a pen leak. If any of this happens, of course your audience will understand. They've been there. You'll even have an amusing anecdote to share. But it will add extra stress to your day. You might waste time trying to get cleaned up, and you'll have a distraction that you really just don't need. The simple solution is to keep an extra shirt in your car, your office, or your traveling case. It should be professional enough, but it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be a perfect match for what you're wearing. I do suggest that you try to keep something on hand that won't wrinkle very much, though. But keeping an extra shirt available is a great way to just avoid the extra worry about a spill and just know that you have that contingency covered. And that's today's 2 minute tip. Stick around after the break for an extended discussion about using the tools that are available to you as a speaker. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about using the tools that are available to us as speakers. A few years ago, I had to present at what would become an annual series of events, or actually a biannual series of events when they started showing up every 6 months or so. All the speakers had groups of about 15 people that moved from one speaker's station to the next. Each session was about 12 minutes long, and we would do probably 12 to 16 sessions a day, back to back to back to back, with minimal breaks. To make things even more challenging, all the speakers were speaking at once in a large, loud hotel ballroom. At the end of the day, we were exhausted. Our voices were fried, and our audiences suffered. For the next event like that, I picked up a portable speaker system and a set of wireless microphones, and it made a huge difference. It wasn't that the speakers made me louder than everyone else, although that was certainly an option. It made the difference because I could speak at my normal level in the event, and the system just gave it the appropriate boost. And at the end of the day, I was as effective as I was at the start of the day. The next time this event happened, half the other speakers had their own systems as well. There are a lot of tools available to us that can make us more effective speakers. PA systems, teleprompters, and wheeled boxes are some of the examples I'm going to talk about today. Before I do, though, I want to address another concern about using these devices: ego. I've seen it happen at a number of events where there's a PA system available, but the speaker says, "Nah, I don't need a mic, I'm loud." And everybody has a little chuckle at that. Not using a microphone or a teleprompter or a wheeled solution for moving gear around is seen as tough or strong. Using those devices is sometimes seen as a sign that you're not a real presenter, because a real presenter wouldn't need to use that or would have their script 100% memorized. And that's ridiculous macho nonsense that crosses gender lines. If your ego can't handle using those devices, knock it off. Deal with your ego issues separately. Those devices don't just make your job easier, they make your audience's experience better. And when your audience has a better experience, you are more effective, and really, that's the whole point of what we're doing here. Will that device help your audience while potentially helping you? Is it readily available? Then just use it. Let's talk about microphones and amplification while we're already in that area. If you're in an environment like the one I described a few moments ago, first of all, I'm very sorry. Second, You can try to bring your own speaker set. It doesn't have to be huge. Generally, once you're talking about that kind of environment, or a group of 20 people or more, especially in a hotel breakout room or a conference room where you're going to be doing multiple sessions a day or talking for an extended period, a microphone is just good to have. I generally prefer a lavalier that clips to my shirt, although others may prefer a slim boom mic that hangs off their ear. A microphone helps you because you don't have to project as much. You can let the tool do its job and just give you that subtle boost while you don't have to produce as much volume yourself. And because you aren't projecting as much, you're going to be less tired. You are also much less likely to strain your voice or your throat trying to reach folks in the back of the room or talk over background noise. It also helps your audience because, well, they can hear you more easily. The back row of a group may miss a couple of words here and there when you're speaking without amplification, but they'll still say they hear you because for the most part they do. But they are going to miss some stuff. And when they start missing some stuff, they start drifting off, they start checking their email, and suddenly, they're essentially out of your presentation. Also, when you turn your body to answer a question from someone or to point something out as you speak, half the room doesn't lose your sound. Without amplification, especially in a larger space, when you turn to look at someone or look at a small group of people or look at only a small portion of the room, that's the only part of the room where people can effectively hear you. When you use a microphone or amplification, you don't have that problem. You may not feel you need a mic, and that may be true, but you can be more effective and less tired when you use one. And those are great reasons to take advantage of available amplification. It gives you and your audience a better experience. Now, let's talk about teleprompters. I don't have a ton of experience with teleprompters, and that's just based on the nature of most of the presentations that I've conducted. However, there are some times when I've had to use a script. But with teleprompters, the ego challenge isn't about how loud you can be. It's about how good your memory is and how well you speak extemporaneously. Generally, I agree that most presentations ought to be extemporaneous. Most of the time, speakers ought to speak from an outline and engage with their audience in a more interactive way than a script will allow. Sometimes, though, an actual script does make sense. If the crowd is huge, there may not be room for interaction. If wording needs to be exact for legal purposes or positioning purposes or for reasons of sensitivity, a script can also make sense. If the speaker is sharing someone else's message, someone else's story, then a script can also make a lot of sense. If that's the case, and especially if the speaker is on camera, a teleprompter is a great tool. A teleprompter includes all of the copy that a speaker needs to deliver. All of the words are right there. It projects a script on a reflective display right in front of the camera. And due to the transparent or reflective nature of the projection surface and the way the camera focuses, the camera is literally shooting the speaker directly through the script. That means that by looking at the script, the speaker is looking directly at the camera as the script scrolls on by. A teleprompter helps the speaker because the speaker doesn't need to be 100% memorized, although the speaker should definitely still be deeply familiar with the script. And personally, I prefer to be about 90% or more off book already when I use a teleprompter. But since the script is right there, that's not always necessary. It also helps a speaker because the speaker doesn't have to worry about forgetting their lines, and they can focus more on their performance. Further, the speaker looks directly into the camera lens. So if you have a speaker who's a little uncomfortable about speaking in front of the camera and about the absence of other people around to make eye contact with, the teleprompter provides a nice forcing function for showing them exactly where their eyes should be. Finally, a speaker will finish on time because the teleprompter can be set to scroll the script at the exact time needed. A teleprompter also helps the rest of the team because There are fewer cuts and retakes because the speaker can just keep going even when they don't have it 100% memorized. The team can edit the script on the fly, and the speaker can just pick up those changes while they're doing the live recording. The team can actually rely on the timing in the script, and they can circulate the script in advance for approvals. This can be very important, especially when stuff might need legal approval or the approval of other stakeholders in the environment. The folks over at DallasPrompter.com have some great tips for using a teleprompter. I have no affiliation with them. I just really like their website. I'll post a link to that in the show notes. Finally, let's just talk briefly about wheels. I love wheels. I like them on my boxes. I like them on my hand truck. I like them on big crates or on medium-sized Pelican cases, which are also awesome for other reasons. But many folks seem to prefer to carry boxes or carry heavy bags to using wheeled cases or portable dollies. If you don't need to lift your boxes and bags, don't. Wheeled delivery mechanisms help speakers because speakers can travel with more demo gear, which can promote a more interactive training experience. Speakers don't waste all of their energy carrying stuff around for setup. Also, when everything's on wheels, speakers are less likely to have sweated through their shirts during setup. Wheeled devices also help the audience because they may get to see more of that demo gear. They may also be able to receive more swag or more giveaways if a speaker is able to more easily move that stuff around. The audience may also end up with a more rested and effective speaker as a result. The bottom line is that there are a lot of devices out there that can make a speaker more effective, and too often a speaker won't use them for fear of seeming weak, and that needs to stop. It's great to be able to function without these devices, but that's a plan B. Plan A should be to use these tools to be as effective as possible. And effectiveness, after all, is what this is all about. So what devices help you to be more effective? Let us know about them or any other thoughts you have on this topic in the comments for episode 19 on 2minutetalktips.com. That's it for this week's post-tip discussion. Please subscribe to 2-Minute Talk Tips in iTunes, Google Play Music, or the podcast service of your choice, and tell a friend. I'm Bill Monroe. Keep an extra shirt on hand, and use the tools you have available. Finally, don't get best.